Insecure BF 33M and I'm 29F. My partner and I have been together for 2 years now. He's a single dad with custody to a girl 9 almost 10. She and I have a bond. My BF and I have struggled financially most of our relationship. When initially we were okay when moving in, things changed shortly afterwards. Almost all of our bills increased as everybody knows due to inflation. Groceries, food, car insurance, rent. This has caused a lot of stress to the both of us because as a fairly new couple we started spending less and less time together. My BF cannot get overtime as he is a salary employee. I on the other hand can work overtime. So I agreed to pull my big girl panties up and decided to work 1 overtime shift every other week as this is enough to be comfortable with paying our bills plus constantly buying new clothes for a growing child. Her mom is there but she does not try. Everything falls on us financially. Stepdaughter broke her glasses 3 times in the last year, all needing to be replaced. Mom didn't help once, not even with the initial pair. So it all falls on my boyfriend, which in turn affects me because then I have to chip in more on bills than I already do. Initially I was buying all of her clothes and BF would repay me. He started giving me money less and less. I'm starting to feel resentment because my bank account ends in the negatives from buying things for his daughter and wait for his money. For my birthday he did take me out to buy clothes for myself because all I've done since I met them was buy clothes for his daughter and not myself. My stepdaughter was fully dependent at age 7 when I met her. I did not know until we moved in together. She didn't feed herself, bathe, wipe, dress herself nor sleep in her room by herself. All done by grandma and dad. I stepped in and started teaching her independence. BF and I used to argue, him saying that teaching a child independence is lazy parenting. I disagree. He finally realized how important it was when his daughter ended up in the ER for severe constipation because she held her poop. Why? Because only Granny would wipe her butt for her and she only saw her 2 days out the week. I said, maybe if she knew how to wipe herself she wouldn't have to wait on anybody to wipe her. Fast forward to today, she now goes to the bathroom daily and wipes herself with me. I'm the only one that taught her, and her mom. Granny still wipes her. She's about to be 10. Shocker is that I also found out my BF was a mama's boy. Everything done by his mother, including his daughter's care. That's why he argued about lazy parenting, because he was raised the same way. Moving on, my BF's insecurities have gotten worse to the point that now even doing something to my hair he asks who am I getting ready for. I don't go out. I sacrificed time with my own family, support system to be with him and his daughter nearly 4 hours away. I'm either at work, home or laundromat. My leader at work tends to buy pizza on a rough night to make sure all employees are fed. My BF claims my leader does this for me only. If for any reason he needs to pick me up from work and sees my male coworkers walk outside, he questions me as to who they are. It's my fault I have male coworkers. He checks my phone when I am not around and has found nothing. I don't cheat. Never have. I've always wanted a family of my own since I was a little girl, and cheating is not healthy for a family. Even when I was in an abusive relationship years ago, I didn't cheat. He questions when my phone rings. I have a group chat on WhatsApp for work where my manager gives staff updates and posts open shifts. He gets mad when he sees a male name responding to my manager because he thinks he is sending me a text rather than responding to my manager. Basically doesn't trust me when I have given zero reason to not trust. I don't know if he is like this because of the lack of quality time we are having as a couple, or if this is him showing his true colors. Tonight I am working an overtime shift and we spoke on my lunch break, and it was fine until he started saying he misses me and that I should be home with him instead of at work, and genuinely starts getting mad and giving me attitude. Does he think I enjoy overtime? Does he think I'm seeing somebody at work? I work in a hospital. I went to college and have a bachelor's degree for my career. Does he think I'm a part of a Grey's Anatomy episode? I'm really lost for words. Everything I ever do is for them, and to be repaid this way is not what I want from my partner. I am only 29 and I'm giving up on my dream of having a family because my energy is being drained for a man and a child that isn't even mine. Sorry that sounds terrible, but it's the truth. I know everyone goes through hardships in their marriages and children are not easy, but is this normal for a 2-year relationship where I don't even have a ring on my finger? I feel like I'm doing too much for nothing but crap in return. We are always broke. Our anniversary was last month and we didn't celebrate it. This is supposed to be the honeymoon phase of our relationship, but I feel like it never started. It was struggle right off the bat. Am I wrong? Maybe he just feels strongly about not being able to spend time with me that he thinks I'm seeing other people. Or am I just making excuses for him? Trust me, when we are good, we are great. Very loving couple. But when he starts acting insecure, it's mostly like a slap in the face, as if I'm out here in the streets. Can these kinds of insecurities ruin a relationship? I'm afraid that a year down the road, when we are financially in better shape and spending more time together, he won't change his insecurities. I'm starting to believe he's using me to help with his daughter. I love him and miss him immensely, but I understand as an adult we have to do what we have to do. Starting to believe I have a more mature mentality. There is a whole lot more to the story, so this is just the gist of it. Feel free to ask questions. My dad freaked out at me over me buying him a few donuts. I've been caretaking for my elderly dad for over half a year at this point. My mom passed away almost 3 years ago, who I was very close with within my family, and my dad is older and has had health issues over the years. Last year some of his health issues progressed and he was in the hospital. At this point in time, basically I ended up coming to help him and staying with him for a period of time, and then ultimately decided to temporarily move in with him to be a caretaker for him until I leave. My sister 34 currently is out of a job for the last almost a year, yet only helps from time to time. She has taken space from my dad when in the past he has been rude to her, so he is very careful about how he acts towards her now. He basically treats her with a golden spoon, tries to buy her affection in a lot of ways. Sometimes I feel close with her and sometimes I feel that she's not on my side support-wise. Yesterday, I was passing by a store that's apple cider donuts, specifically for the fall, and I thought my dad would like a little treat. Mind you, he has a mutual bank card that I use when I get groceries for the house or things like that. So I decided to get a few donuts and put them on that card, not thinking it would be a big deal and thinking he would like it. I got home and told him that I had gotten him a treat. He asked me what it was. I told him some apple cider donuts. He told me first, well, I like muffins better, and then he asked to see them. I showed them to him, and then he looked disgruntled and asked me did I pay for that. I told him that yes, I put it on the card, but at the same time if it really is that serious I could pay him for them. I thought he would like them. He basically freaked out at me and told me that I got them for myself and really wasn't thinking of him, and then I should have called him to ask if he wanted them. I was absolutely dumbfounded by this reaction, even though he has multiple of these reactions throughout the years. He was so aggressive towards me and so rude towards me over getting him a few donuts. I then was emotional and reacted emotionally, even though I've tried not to engage because he is a narcissist. A few minutes later I went out and messaged my sister, who was set to come over and make him a nice meal on Monday. Which that's a whole other thing. She barely does help, but when she does it's basically so she can take food for herself as well as make it for him, since she is without a job right now. I messaged her that I don't think she should make him a nice meal Monday because he was just extremely rude towards me. She then called me and asked what happened. I told her and she thought it was crazy, but she also thought that I shouldn't be asking her to have alliance to me and not do things for him. Because ultimately he will respect me or won't respect me even if she does or doesn't do things. I was surprised by this, because I've had her back in a lot of instances that she's gotten into arguments with him and it just felt like she's doing a 180. I went in to try to talk to him again it ended up emotionally. He told me I'm going to amount to nothing in my life. He told me I'm lazy. He told me a real surprise would be if I bake him something, everything in the book. Then his phone was ringing and it was my sister. He said he will call her back. I went in the other room and continue the conversation with her, calling her but asking her, did you just call him? She was like, yes I did. I was like, was it to talk about this situation? She said yes. I was confused by this because I didn't really know what there was to talk about with him in her case. I then heard her call him back, and she asked what happened. Of course he gaslight the entire circumstance and told a different version of what happened to make me look bad. He tried to kiss up to her and at the end to say see you Monday to make my meal, and then they said goodbye. I then was texting with her and told her that everything he just said on the phone was a lie. She then said, yeah, he said that you were emotional and that he was calm. I then still helped him with dinner even though I was upset and probably shouldn't have. I had already made it at that point, but he basically threatened my livelihood and said if I didn't help him he wasn't going to support me. I told her about this, and she got really upset saying that I shouldn't be asking her to not do things for him if I myself won't stick with that. I told her that it's a very different situation when I'm actually under this roof and having direct support from him because I gave up my life temporarily to help him and he has caretaker. Obviously I'm not happy about the situation, but at the same time it's different than coming over unnecessarily on a different day and making him a meal when he's acting like this towards me. She called me weak. She said that I failed. She said that I should not care about what she does with him. So I asked her in all seriousness, if you don't want to be involved, then why did you call him directly to talk about the situation? She told me I shouldn't care about what she does in involvement with him and then it doesn't have to do with me ever. At this point, she's coming Monday and I feel distressed between how he acted towards me and how she acted towards me. I'm completely uncomfortable. How to cope with knowing you, and many of yours, are probably on the spectrum while waiting for proof. A long vent mostly, tbh. Throw away because I can't say all this where family might see on another account. I'm struggling. Just need to get some of this out if I can. My mind just will not stop churning, and there's overlapping bad memories and thinking of my estranged family mixed in because of how completely clueless and toxic they are. Every day I feel like I remember another thing in my life that occurred because I was on the spectrum and doing nothing to account for it. While also having a family that parented poorly and made mostly wrong decisions. I'm about 95% certain I'm ADHD. I'm pushing 40 and my medical record would show you what long-term burnout looks like. 2 therapists have told me they believed I was on the spectrum. My son is diagnosed ADHD and I did so many of the same things as a child. I found out recently one of my best friends from high school was diagnosed ADHD as a teen. My nephew is ADHD, and I'm currently in the middle of my own, new and in-depth evaluation. My evaluator got off topic a little bit and said something in response to me acting discouraged about going back to work in a field, and she said, "Oh, I know quite a few high-functioning people in that field and they do great." It felt like she accidentally spoke too much and was going into therapy mode unintentionally. So I feel like I know. I should have the results in a few weeks, but meanwhile all the denial is slowly fading at the same time I don't have proof. I've been invalidated about self-diagnosis so many times, and thanks to that denial fading, all the signs I was missing are just in my face and all through my family. My mom and her cluttered house, surrounded by unfinished books, projects, and a catchphrase of, "Oh, I got off track again," or, "We don't think like other people, son." An inglorious incompetence and denial. ADHD is so overdiagnosed. it's only kids being kids and you just need to work with them. What a shock I learned to mask growing up in the 90s, am I right? My wife and I both have trauma, but we bonded intensely, quickly, and we have a blast and we're madly in love. I think we experience what some call resonance, when the obsession, feeling of comfort at being understood, and unmasking around one another comes together just right. But we don't call it that because although she has occasionally acknowledged ADHD symptoms in herself, it's too much and she can't stand the gray area of self-diagnosis. We've had several fights caused by black and white, literal thinking causing misunderstandings. We are so silly together and it's wonderful, but with her emotions on the topic she's not someone I can really discuss spectrum issues with no matter how much I see the signs in both of us. A lot of this might get better if I had the results of my eval, but I'm just waiting, watching my kids and wife bounce around the house with intense interests. Randomly forgetting to put things away or finish a chore, all the time. My daughter is intensely into the arts and gifted with it, way ahead of peers. My son is intensely into video games, loves science, and has a formally tested gifted IQ. I have a formally tested gifted IQ, but my wife destroys me at puzzle games and has incredible talent for art. She thinks she's not smart, but I know her frustrating missteps, that she beats herself up for, are not for lacking raw intelligence. I could go on, and on, and on. I've been perusing peer-reviewed literature, blogs and articles, and lurking in Spectrum subreddits for over a year. It became an obsession, and I know I'm more educated than the average person on Spectrum issues, but I have no degree and no formal diagnosis. In fact, this will be my second evaluation because the first one said I was a highly sensitive person. Which isn't even in the fucking DSM, and I think that evaluator was incompetent, biased, and stuck in 90s thinking. Anyway, all I have to do is wait for the results of the much more in-depth evaluation I'm going through now. And then figure out what to tell me kids, wonder how my wife will process it, wonder if the knowledge might help get through to my estranged family members. And wonder what my hostile ex-wife and the courts would make of the knowledge that I'm ADHD, not too sensitive, per my ex-attorney. TLDR, I am absolutely certain that I can't really self-diagnose as ADHD, but all the evidence points to ADHD. So the journey of self-discovery and acceptance marches on in my brain, and around me, at a pace of its own regardless of flutterings of dissonance, self-doubt, an utter lack of confidence that I'm not neurotypical.